Welcome back to the channel, guys. I hope everyone's doing well. So basically this is just a wee follow-up video on the update on the FN2 CIVIC Type R. Now if you watched the previous video on the FN2, we used REDEX to see if that would solve the over-revving issue of the car. Now not only was the REDEX added, the throttle bodies of the car was also cleaned out.
Before we continue with this video, I'd just like to say a massive thank you to everyone who commented on the last video regarding the over-revving nature of the FN2 and ways in which we could try and rectify the problem. So I've kind of narrowed it down to the four sort of most common suggestions, which are on the next slide. So the most common suggestions that I found through the comment section with the last video were number one, cleaning the MAF sensor or the mass airflow sensor, and to check the MAF sensor for any issues or problems. The other one was using carb cleaner to clean in and around the throttle body, and to check and reset the throttle positioning by using a diagnostics tool, as apparently the FN2 has an electronic throttle compared to the EP3, which has a cable throttle. So we would have to check the throttle positioning and maybe perhaps reset it using the diagnostics tool. And then finally to check the pipes and the intake manifold for any splits. Now these are the most common suggestions, and these after I'm going to give it another week on the REDEX to see if there is any more improvement, and if not, I'm going to start going through each suggestion one by one to see if that helps with the over-revving problem.
So what has the REDEX actually done to the car? What differences do I notice from using REDEX? The main differences are that the car seems a lot louder. It seems a lot clearer when you're putting your foot down, especially when you're engaging Vtec. The engine note seems a lot more crisp. Also, prior to using the REDEX, the car actually felt underpowered. Now, during lockdown, the car wasn't driven for around 4 weeks, so it was just basically sitting in the driveway, hadn't been on any long runs. So that may have contributed to the fact that there was a loss of power. So the power seems to be much better now too. Power delivery is a lot better, a lot more crisp. It's less laggy. Now, the over-revving in neutral, that seems to have calmed down a little bit after using the REDEX. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put another half bottle of REDEX in the car. I'm just going to go fill it up with fuel, put another half bottle in. I'm going to leave it for another week or so, another maybe week and a half, and see if the issue eventually goes away. This is because obviously it has improved slightly, but the issue is still there. It's still over-revving a little bit in neutral, and it is idling a little bit higher. But actually the idle speed or the idle RPMs have actually dropped a little bit. So before, when I used to start this car up on a cold start, they'd be sitting at 2,500 RPM, and then slowly they'd go down. But right now, when I started it this morning, it was sitting at 1,500 RPM, which is normally quite usual for a cold start, I think, for one of these. So, and then after that, yeah, it calmed down to below 1,000. So it does seem to have helped the sort of idle speed as well. I'm going to give it another week in the REDEX before I do anything else, because I want to make sure, you know, the REDEX may actually cure the issue. We don't know. Also, I've been driving it a lot more the last few weeks. I've been VTECing it a lot, so that's also helped clean out the engine. Also, I've topped up the engine oil as well, so because it was a bit low on engine oil. So these cars actually drink. If you don't have an FN2, normally every 1,000 miles or so, you should really top up the engine oil, because of the amount of heat the engine produces, and because of, you know, it's a high revving engine, they do go through a bit of engine oil from time to time. So yeah, that is very important. But yeah, everything seems smooth. Throttle response seems good. The clutch seems good. Gearbox seems good. Everything's fine. It's just that over-revviness of the engine. And I've put in half a bottle again of REDEX. So put in 40 quid's worth of petrol, so nearly a full tank and half a bottle of this. So we'll see, we'll give it another week and a half on the REDEX, see if that solves the problem, and let's get going. In terms of mileage, when I bought this car, it had done 108,000 odd miles. So the car's now done 134,502 miles. So it's been fairly driven the last few years that I've had it. But it's a fantastic car to own, fantastic car to drive. You know, as a young driver, especially for bang for buck, you know, for the price you get this car, you get 198 horsepower. What other car can you buy for that amount, you know, for this amount of money, for the sort of £3,000 to £5,000 mark for this sort of, you know, performance? And the sound as well, the Vtec of the engine. But yeah, I'm going to Vtec a little bit and just to see, obviously let everything mix, like the REDEX and all that, let it all mix in the fuel tank and the engine and the fuel system, just let it run through. So we'll give it a wee bit of Vtec as well. Listen to that noise! That noise never gets old. That noise of just Vtec, that when that second cam engages, that just does not get old at all. With a turbocharged car, you do not get that sort of noise. Goodness me, you forget how quick you're going in this sometimes as well because of the reviness of the engine, you know. Bloody wow. It's a beautiful day out here in Scotland as well. But yeah, I'm just going to pull over somewhere and we will have a look at the engine. You heard it there, that the revs jumped up when I changed gear slightly, so the revs are still holding when I'm changing gear. Now that's it. I think it's called rev hang, that's what it's doing. So that's not cured yet, but the reviness in neutral from 1000 to 3000 RPM, like it was in the last video, that has gotten better substantially. But the rev hang when I'm changing gear, that's not really gotten better. But according to the mechanic that I spoke to, he suggested that I just keep driving it. Obviously Honda engines are bulletproof anyway, as many know. That's why many people buy them, especially the K20A engine. If they're looked after properly, they are absolute machines, you know, they're so reliable. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and yeah, hopefully I'll bring out some more content as well with the FN2 CIVIC Type R. Obviously balancing everything with work commitments as well has been a bit tricky, but yeah, thank you to everybody who's subscribed so far. Right now we're on, I believe it's 30 subscribers so far, so I'd just like to thank everyone who's subscribed, and yeah, I appreciate it, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.